Good morning, my people. Today's a big day. The Time to Explain podcast just came out, and we have a lot of sneak peeks to dive straight away into. It looks like some interesting stuff is coming around the corner. All right, everybody. So the Time to Explain podcast was about roughly 3 hours long, and I want to distill most of the important information, or at least the information that I found incredibly noteworthy from this or exciting for the future updates of Brawl Stars. So you guys can kind of have one video to explain it all if you don't want to watch the whole thing. It's kind of a shame to even say that because I would highly recommend you guys go watch it for yourselves. It's such a good watch. I was lucky enough to watch it early so I could make this video for you guys here today. And man, it's just so nice to hear what the Brawl Stars dev team is working on, their thoughts about Brawl Stars, the passion behind the game that they work on every single day. Truly, if you guys enjoy Brawl Stars, it's a really good watch, and I would highly recommend you guys go take a look for it for yourself. But starting things off with probably the biggest sneak peek, or at least the sneak peek that the Brawl Stars dev team created some assets around, and that is Brawler Prestiges. There's obviously a lot of other sneak peeks and Easter eggs here in the podcast, but this was the only sneak peek that had some sort of developed assets around it, which is really exciting. And when we're talking about Brawler Prestiges, the very first thing that comes to mind is other games much like Call of Duty. If you guys have ever played those games, I'm sure, or maybe you haven't, but just going off the dome here, I think it makes a lot of sense and could be a very good answer to the existing problem that we have with trophy pushing in the game. When we manage to get 2,000 trophies with the Brawler, it feels like we're kind of done here in Brawl Stars. If you guys have gotten to that point, I'm sure you guys also feel the same exact way, but if you haven't, hey, Brawl Stars is incredibly fun trying to get up to that point. But in my mind, when it comes to Brawler Prestiges, you get a prestige for that certain Brawler. Maybe you get like a trophy reset, and then you gain some sort of cosmetic item or something flex worthy in the game from that reset. It's kind of how prestiges work from other games and whatnot. You reset, you get this cool emblem or something to showcase your effort in the game. But then when it comes to prestiges, there's also a lot of potential for future prestiges on top of that. So the outcome is kind of what we've been asking for, at least I've been asking for a very long time when it comes to effort-based things in the game. All we really want as a community, especially the diehard players, are effort being rewarded for some sort of flex-worthy cosmetic. Whether it's a skin, a profile icon, something that we can flex in the game to show that we have, hey, we're on our 9th prestige, you know, we have this emblem, we're really, really good with this Brawler. I think there's a lot of potential with this, and I love the direction that they're going with here for trophies, and I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really hyped on it. But now that we got the prestige out of the way, the bigger sneak peek, I would say, in the Brawl Talk, next I want to talk about all of the fun Easter eggs and sneak peeks that we have in the realm of Buffies for future updates. We have the first update, the first rollout of the Buffies. The Brawl Stars dev team had a lot of time to sit back, take notes, how they like the first rollout, and how they want to make changes for future updates. And a lot of it sounds incredibly promising, especially for players that like to save resources. Free Buffies are around the corner, and I cannot wait. So the very first noteworthy thing that they dropped during the podcast is every single season that comes out on the Brawl Pass with a new update, of course, there's going to be a free claw machine Buffie reward. Much like we had with the first rollout of the Buffies being able to get a free Buffie, that's going to happen every single round of new Buffies. Definitely going to help out a lot with free-to-play players out there. I would say just being able to rack up free Buffies over time every single season is a huge W, a huge win. It should help out a lot, that's for sure. On top of that, every single month there's going to be a one-time special offer for gems. For those of you who save up your gems, it's hard to sometimes understand when to spend them. There's a few offers that everyone go to every single time they come out, like the best value gem offer in the game, and most of the time it comes down to when the new hypercharges would come out, the super good value gem offers that people would save their gems for. But of course, hypercharges are gone now, so it looks like something is kind of taking its place for that best value gem offer, and it's going to be a 79 gem every single once a month. And it's going to be a 79 gem offer once a month to give you a random Buffie. I haven't worked out the math whether or not that's going to be like a crazy good offer, but most of the time if the dev team offer one-time deal offers for things like this, it typically rounds up to being a pretty decent offer. So I think they wanted to design something to take the place of that really good offer for hypercharges, just to give a use case for gems as a reward for free-to-play players being able to save up gems over time. A good way to use them, I think, is a very important thing in Brawl Stars. And then the final really exciting thing during their Buffy segment that I thought had a lot of potential that they are thinking about adding in the game here in the future is a claw machine lucky pull mechanic. As you guys know, RNG plays a role with the claw machine in the game. Some people have a little bit of a hard time with that. RNG sometimes doesn't feel fantastic. They did have a really good response to that. The fact that with RNG, it can give you the inspiration to try out other things in the game, where a lot of time in Brawl Stars, people play the cast of brawlers and they hone in on a few of them to be their main, and they like to play that brawler in a lot of different modes, and they kind of pigeonhole themselves into that kind of character for most of their Brawl Stars experience, or a majority of it. But they give an example where, say you want as a Colt main, the Colt Buffies, but you get unlucky and you get all 3 of Spike's Buffies and you never really played them before. It's kind of a good opportunity to give Spike a try and see if you enjoy him, and then unlock another tool in your tool belt to play in other game modes, like if Spike is better than Colt in other 3v3 modes or in Showdown or whatnot, or even in Ranked, right? Being able to utilize other characters, I think, is important in Brawl Stars, which I guess is a good explanation. Sometimes we don't even think of that, or I don't, because, you know, I've played every single brawler. I don't necessarily have that problem. I do have my mains, but I don't just like main specific brawlers. But you guys know some of those people out there that main Edgar. They play Edgar in every single mode. Playing with those randoms is pretty hard. So having the inspiration to try out other characters just based off of RNG from this claw machine might be kind of a good thing. But getting back to the lucky pull mechanic, they were talking about this being a potential reward that we can obtain from like community events, other things. Who knows how you would get them, but it would be a reward where you could determine what Buffy you wanted to get from that wave of claw machine Buffy opportunities, which I thought was a really interesting idea there. A way to get around RNG if you do really want that Colt or those Colt Buffies, you know what I'm saying? So imagine the lucky pull mechanic being somewhat regular in the game for like a free reward or something like that. And then on top of that, you can also get a one-time free Buffy every single new wave of Buffies that come out with an update or new season of the Brawl Pass. You could kind of finesse it where you'd get a Buffy of your choosing for free every single time. I think that's really cool, and the potential there is kind of hype. But now that we got those things out of the way, moving along here to other noteworthy conversations in the podcast that might bring feasible, tangible things that you guys might find exciting around the corner. And the format of this, basically how I approached this, was I was watching the podcast for my own enjoyment, and every single time they said something pretty noteworthy or something that I found incredibly exciting that you guys might want to know about, I jotted it down. So let's go through these. So the first point in this list of points that I found really cool is, you guys remember Sugar Rush? I actually really enjoyed the mechanic. Basically how it went was you would click a button in the actual UI of the game before you would hop into a match, and you'd have a limited amount of time to hop into a match to gain a copious amount of resources while that timer was clicking down. Well, the dev team in the future has plans to add that back into the game, but for the resources being coins and power points, and I found that really interesting. I don't know if it's going to be designed around an update with like a certain theme or anything like that, or if it's just going to be a future mechanic in the game, much like existing ones that we already have, like, you know, Mega Pig and stuff like that. Maybe a once a month week event, I don't know, where we have like a Sugar Rush in the game to get more coins and power points. I found that pretty dang exciting. We were literally just talking about Buffies, but another Buffy conversation kind of popped up while I was watching, and that is they are planning to add every month, or when a new season comes around the corner, into the mega quests, a way to get one Buffy for free with the mega quests. Just watching through this podcast, it kind of sounded like there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get Buffies for free. Kind of how we experienced with like hypercharges, kind of replace how we experienced hypercharge rollouts with Buffies, and a lot of things kind of line up how it kind of went with hypercharges, where we had different events to get hypercharges for free and stuff like that. I think a lot of stuff is going to happen with that with Buffies too. So we should be getting one Buffy for free with the claw machine whenever a new wave of Buffies come out, as well as in the mega quests every single season, we should be able to get another Buffy for free on top of that. Also, I might be stumbling over my words a little bit. I literally literally just woke up. I'm sorry, guys. You got sleepy right here on the clock. Moving on. Later in the podcast, they ended up talking about the pee in the pool event. Some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. Honestly, I was kind of a fan of it. I liked how you could experience a event outside of the game, right? An ongoing conversation with videos over on YouTube, but then it was brought into the game itself where you can interact and interrogate different people in the game and find out what rewards you could get from that. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, hey, I'm about to turn 30, okay? Pee pee poo poo. Different community events kind of seem a little immature for you, boy. But hey, it's fun, okay? But they explained that the final video, which was something I was asking about in a previous Brawl News episode, never aired due to timing issues, where a lot of the conversation around the who peed in the pool event kind of moved on once it was ready. So they featured it in the Time to Explain podcast, and it ended up being Chester. The culprit was Chester. Pretty dang interesting. They then went on to explain that they would really enjoy other community events in the future that had more lore attached to it, which was I was incredibly excited for. You guys know I'm a lore junkie. I'm not sure if it's more with like rosy lens, whatever you want to, rose tinted glasses, whatever the saying is. But back in the day, it was all thanks to like the Star Park lore with the WKBRL live stream and whatnot. Whenever I say I'm like a lore junkie and stuff like that, it stems from that. Those times in Brawl Stars, when it comes to lore, we were eating so incredibly well. It was such a fun time to be playing the game. So many Easter eggs, so many sneak peeks. The Brawl Stars dev team like completely ignored it. They had nothing to do with it. It felt like we were investigating and finding things out for ourselves. But they were thinking that it's important for them to start doing community events, or they find it kind of exciting to think about lore-centric community events in the future, which I found fun. I think that has a lot of potential. Moving on, there's a lot of questions being answered in this podcast or asked by members in the community about different Brawler reworks or existing abilities in the game that feel very, very weak, much like hypercharges such as Pearl, Chuck. Good examples there. The Brawl Stars dev team explained that with the rollout of Buffies, it's another really great opportunity where every single time a new Buffie is being added for a particular brawler, it allows them to take a look at a brawler's entire kit and bring it up to speed for the current version of Brawl Stars. It's kind of what we saw with the rollout of Buffies this time around, where different gadgets were reworked, different brawlers were reworked and tweaked. That should be happening with every single new Buffie that's released for different brawlers in the future. Some brawlers might not change, existing abilities might not change, but it just gives them the opportunity to do that, and more should be coming around the future. Next important point, if you guys are fans of ranked, listen up. I found this so incredibly exciting. So when they were discussing ranked in the podcast, they were talking about how they kind of compromised the game mode. The game mode was a compromise, and the current version of it is a compromise. If you guys remember, a few updates after ranked was released, they made it very accessible to new players. They made it a good avenue for rewards. They made it enticing for more people to try out the game mode. But I don't think it worked out really well, and for what ranked ends up representing. It is a game mode that is meant for the higher up, more diehard players in the game, and an avenue that they can peel off to in the future of Brawl Stars and how they're playing their game that feels more for them. And what they ended up explaining is they want ranked in the future for future ranked updates to hold that competitive integrity. They don't want to compromise both communities, right? They want ranked in the future to be only exclusively for those die-hard players. So ranked, what is it going to be, like 4.0 now? In the future, a future update should be coming around the corner that's just going to be tailored and should be more centric towards the more sweaty die-hard players out there, not so much as a compromise. So I think there's a lot of fun things in the future for ranked when it comes to more competitive integrity out there. I think that's going to be really cool. No mainstream compromise with the game mode. Speaking of ranked, they ended up bringing up that there is probably in the near future going to be some sort of search option for the brawler selection phase in the game when you're picking and banning your brawlers, which I find incredibly important, especially seeing that we're getting like 2 brawlers every single month being released, and we're about to hit 100. It's so dang hard to find the brawler that you want to play in that list of brawlers, bro. So some sort of search option. We do have the favorite option or feature in the game where we can favorite the brawlers that are like really, really good in the meta right now, so we don't have to search as hard. But just being able to, you know, type in drop down bar. We know we want to play Chester. Typing in Chester pops up on your screen, so much easier. Supposedly that is something that the dev team have been like bringing up internally for like promising changes for future updates, just like idea generation so often. So I would assume that would be coming out in the future. Next up, upside down showdown, however you guys want to call it, should be coming back in some sort of different iteration in future updates. I think we can all agree when it comes to the Stranger Things update this year, it had to have been the best update in a while, probably due to, and I would say most of the sentiment towards it has to be coming from the Upside Showdown game mode. It was such a good game mode. So obviously they're not gonna let that go to waste, or that idea. They're probably gonna, or I shouldn't say probably, they are gonna bring it back in some sort of fashion in the future. When that is, I'm not quite sure, but just know it's not gonna not come back. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a few other ones that I have jotted down here that aren't as noteworthy as the ones that we just went through, but I guess I'll go through them really quickly here. A question was coming up about more partnerships or collabs. More will be coming in the future. They're already in the talks with a few already right now, so make sure to keep that in mind. We don't know anything about it, but more collabs should be coming. Another conversation that I really enjoyed towards the end with the dev team that was a part of the podcast is their conversation about money never being a priority when it comes to Brawl Stars specifically. I think this is a worry whenever we see the state of Brawl Stars kind of go down a little bit. Kind of just knowing that their neighbors, the Supercell games out there, they're close caveats, whatever you'd like to call it, to Clash Royale. It kind of makes you wonder whether or not like things change internally just as like an overall Supercell umbrella, and you don't necessarily want to see Brawl Stars go down that path of money first. And it seems based on how they're talking that has never and will never be a priority for the Brawl Stars dev team, which is really, really reassuring when it comes to the state of the game. It's just so reassuring knowing that we have such a good group of people working on the game, and the future of Brawl Stars is more than likely looking very, very bright. I cannot wait. Oh, and another conversation, the final point that I have here in the Time to Explain podcast that I found kind of funny is they were talking about new brawlers coming out that could be tailored, or their mechanics being tailored around 2 different brawlers and their relationship, as odd as that seems. So imagine 2 brawlers like falling in love, having a baby, and that baby has like mechanics that kind of tailor or combine both of them. And obviously that stemmed from the fun Easter eggs that we talked about in Brawl News episodes in the past, where that campaign for Valentine's Day last year, finding Bo a partner, a kissing partner, whatever you'd like to call it, and it ended up being Charlie. 9 months later, they introduced a photo that was not lore, and they explained it in the podcast. It wasn't lore, but Bo and Charlie had a kid, and a lot of people thought that it could be a future brawler around the corner. But seeing that those 2 have like a fling, and it's not lore, but imagine lore in the future had 2 different brawlers partnering up. Couldn't it be cool to investigate or dive into a new brawler, the kid or offspring of those characters, having some of those mechanics but like combined? I think it's pretty cool. Reminded me of like Star Power and Gadget Glitches, bro, back in the day, but in real life. But yeah, man, I don't know. Whenever it comes to these Time to Explain podcasts, it's always such a fun listen. A lot of the time when I am listening in on these things early so I can create this video, I'm just there and enjoying it. Half the time thinking to myself, man, it sucks that I have to take notes on this. I just want to listen and have a good time and just like hear what they're doing as a fan of Brawl Stars, you know what I'm saying? But there you have it. Those are some of the things that I found noteworthy for you guys here in this Time to Explain podcast. It looks like there's a lot of exciting stuff coming around the corner. And here at the very tail end of the video, I just want to reiterate, make sure you guys check out the podcast. Throw it on in the background when you're going out, maybe shopping, walking to the bus station for school, anything that you do during your downtime. Listen to a little bit at a time. It gives you some really good context as to where the Brawl Stars dev team are at in the creation of Brawl Stars. Just based off what I'm seeing in the Time to Explain podcast, it looks like we have a great group of people working on the game, and the future is very bright for Brawl Stars around the corner, so can't wait to see what they do. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you all. Love you all so much. And we'll see you in the next one. Hey, and thank you for sticking around with Sleepy Boy Ray. I've been stumbling over my words all morning. Adios, guys. Peace out.